Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Team League Tenacity out of the map Ruins of Tarsonis. Displaying up here in the top left-hand corner, we have Coop as the red Zerg and his teammate Damien as the blue Protoss, and down here in the bottom side of the map we have Tanner as the purple Terran and ProdofVoid as the light blue Terran. So there's some TT versus ZP action, and honestly, does anyone know what 2v2 matchups do? Because I don't think anyone does. Pretty sure people just say TTVZP because then they know what races are on each side, but nobody actually, like TVZ is a very distinct, very designed matchup. TTVZP, not so much. It's kind of more of a clusterfuck because it's a team game, and that's kind of just what happens. I mean, I could see some very heavy rushing coming out from the Terran side because of course they have the Marine, and the Marine is an extremely powerful unit, especially in massive numbers. And you know what, you can achieve massive numbers if you have two players making the exact same unit. That's kind of just what happens. Currently it looks like we have no player going for anything extremely out of the ordinary. I mean, a 9 pool and a 2v2 is pretty much just standard play, really. And a 10 gate, also pretty much just standard play, because everyone needs to get those units out as fast as possible. Do not know why my FPS dies so much. I need to load the units again. I keep forgetting to do that every time before I do my commentary. Just go through that like unit loader map, plays for 15 seconds and loads everything for you. It's very, very important. I would suggest everyone to do it before they play, because if they bitch and they don't do it, then it's their own goddamn fault, because that thing works like a charm. Alright. And it looks like we have two barracks currently coming down for the team of ProdofVoid and Tanner, as their opponents are also creating their original building structures. You know, you have the gateway up here, the spawning pool. It's going to be interesting to see what type of aggression comes out. We actually have a 2 gate coming out from Damien, so I could see some very heavy aggression coming out from this topside team. We have a couple of Zerglings on the way. Along with 2 gateways, it's going to be a lot of Zerglings, a lot of Zealots, a lot of stuff that cannot shoot over walls and kill Marines. So of course, if Tanner and ProdofVoid actually manage to get a wealthy amount of Marines up, they're basically screwed. Because Marines are going to be able to absolutely wreck Zerglings and Zealots for much of the early part of the game. We do have a Cybernetics core on the way, along with an assimilator, but the assimilator does not have anything currently mining gas on it. It looks like we have one thing mining gas for ProdofVoid, and we're going to have to wait and see what he does with this gas. It might be a reactor on the second barracks, it might be a tech lab on the second barracks, plus like concussive shells and something else. However, with only one Marine mining, I would have to guess that it's going to be a reactor. I can't imagine it not being a reactor. Looks like we even have a reactor already coming out from Terran. So actually, I guess it might be Marauders, but that would still be kind of interesting, because you usually want a little bit more gas to get Marauders, at least 2 SCVs on this refinery, or it just gets a little bit awkward. And actually, we do have a tech lab coming up, along with an engineering base, so we are going to see quite a bit of upgrading coming out for this team in the south side. Do we have an engineering bay out for Tanner yet? No, he's just going for that regular tech lab, along with the reactor barracks. So there are going to be plenty of Marines, and I'm guessing he's going to go for the upgraded Marines, whereas his teammate is probably going to go down the Marauder path. Right? Is he waiting for Stimpack? He should probably... Okay, he does have 3 SCVs on his gas now, and it looks like he is waiting for Stimpack at this point. We do have Marauders actually coming out for Tanner instead of ProdofVoid. Interesting. I mean, with the reactor already up, I would have seen Tanner going for something like combat shields and then just pumping out Marines from everything, because ProdofVoid does not have the same Marines producing capabilities of his teammate. And actually, what is he going for? Oh, he went for... What did he go for? Oh, he just went for +1. Okay. Alright, I was a little bit confused there. I forgot to look at the production tab, because that's kind of just how I roll. We currently have no expansions going down anywhere on the map right now, which is kind of surprising as far as the Zerg player goes, because Zerg players usually try to get expansions out ASAP in a 2v2 setting, even though they can be a little bit difficult to handle and a little bit difficult to keep alive. But if your opponent is going very heavily into the unit cap, such as Damien is currently, he has 3 gateways and a robotics facility on the way that is currently producing an observer that will get you that sort of information that will keep you alive for a very long time. It is actually quite easy to get an expansion and keep it alive, especially if you take the expansion here, or on the mirror side of the map up here, because there's no like back wall, or there's no back path, which people really forget about. But there is definitely this. You can walk stuff through this, and it's very, very annoying if it happens, because then everything dies. It looks like we have a small group of Tanner's units now moving across the center of the map, but they are not attacking with the light blue units. So it is just going to be Tanner moving up against Coop. Coop is dropping his banelings, and it looks like Tanner's units are going to be a little bit afraid now. Primarily, probably because of seeing those banelings, and those banelings can be pretty scary. And it looks like right now they are popping. Oh, the sniping is actually going quite well, and those banelings are not going to do a whole lot. 2 Marine side of banelings, that is not a lot. And it looks like Damien a little bit late to the party, and wow, are they actually just going to absolutely push them back here? It looks like maybe Marines. Actually, no. These stalkers are taking quite a few hits, and especially with ProdofVoid arriving right now, this is going to be a little bit of a rough time for the team of Coop and Damien. It looks like there have not really been any engagement together yet. There are the Queens finally, all the Zerglings down, and here come the Banelings. And are those Queens gonna stay alive? They are indeed. Nice transfusions going down. Is the second one even gonna die? No, it is not. And it looks like one Stalker is going to go down, and that's going to be the last Stalker. A lot of these Banelings just suiciding into the Marauders for no reason. There was really no gain out of that. Quite interesting to see Coop doing something like that. Does he have a hatchery going down yet? Yes, indeed he does. He has the plan for that hatchery already stamped down onto the earth. You know, he's waiting on the permitting process and the drones to get there and approve the building structure. But you know, he's getting there. He's working on it. And it looks like Tanner is yet again just building up another army. ProdofVoid is going for that very heavy marine type of army. Again, kind of surprising, especially considering the fact that he's not going for combat shield despite having the money for it. He does have +1 armor on the way, which is going to be quite important in this next upcoming engagement. It's really, for the most part, for our Terran team, it's going to be all about dodging these Banelings and blowing them up before they can hit anything. Because really, those Banelings are going to be the thing that's going to kill them. Damien, his army is good and it's strong, but it's not going to really be able to fight against this amount of Marines. He really doesn't have those Colossuses or those High Templars that are needed to take out these massive groups of Marines extremely quickly. And honestly, Stalkers and Immortals just get torn to shreds by Marines. I mean, they do quite a bit of work on Marauders, but you know, they're not even comparable to Marines. And they just get absolutely ripped apart. It's actually kind of funny. We do have Coop building up more Zergling units, but he really doesn't have that much yet. He has +1 ground attack and +1 ground armor on the way, and you know, he's working on it. There's not a lot coming out for our Zerg player. It's just going to be a whole lot of Zerglings for a little while here. He's not even building Banelings with them yet. Does he have a layer? He has a layer on the way, but really, until he gets that layer, it's not going to be amazing. Looks like we have Damien and Coop moving out. Oh, Coop losing some Zerglings for absolutely no reason there. That was not the best. Oh, losing his only Baneling for absolutely no reason. That was kind of rough. Not exactly the situation you want to be in to start off an attack. It looks like here comes 5 Banelings on their way. Coop being a little bit aggressive with those Banelings, dropping them down, and honestly, this many Marauders, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that much, because these Marauders will probably be able to take the front end. As soon as they kind of like wall off this front ramp when the attack comes, they're perfectly set. We do have the expansions from Tanner and ProdofVoid going to be coming up sooner than the expansion from Damien, so they are going to have a little bit of an economic lead for a while here. It looks like we have the factory currently scouting out down the ramp. Very important to have that extra little bit of vision range to see whenever something's coming up, and to, you know, to see Banelings that you can snipe. It looks like Damien just camping a little bit with his observer, being quite annoying. The first medevac is now out for Tanner, and of course medevacs are going to be incredibly important to this army because they can not only heal your units, they can also heal your allies. So whenever anybody stands on the battlefield, these medevacs are going to be able to heal across the lines, and it's going to be extremely good to have them. It looks like we have the armies from Damien and Coop just slowly growing in strength, and also kind of splitting themselves up and trying to, you know, divide and conquer and be ready for the flank. We currently don't have anything in the way of drops coming from Tanner or ProdofVoid. As far as tech goes, Neither of them are really going for anything super unique. We have a whole lot of barracks coming out from both players, and a starport from Tanner with the reactor on it that's just going to be pumping out medevacs for quite a while. And on the other side of that coin, we do have a Twilight Council, ProdofVoid warning the Zerg expanded, and actually everyone expanded at this point, which is quite nice. It's not fun watching those 2v2 games that just stay on one base the entire game. They're kind of just annoying and almost suck. We now have Coop preparing his army. Does he have speed for these banelings yet? One of them move. I do not think so. No, it's on the way. Centrifugal hooks is on the way, which is quite important because it really allows you to actually hit the banelings on stimmed marines off creep, because otherwise they're just the marines are way too fast. It's kind of ridiculous. We also have charge on the way for Damien, which is kind of interesting considering the composition of his army. There's not a whole lot of zealots here. There's way more stalkers than there are zealots, and there's even a couple of immortals here. I'm kind of surprised to see him go for charge instead of blink, because charge lots kind of serve the same purpose as Zerglings in an army like this, because Zerglings are kind of there to wrap and like prevent movement from the enemy, along with getting right up into their teeth and just starting to like kind of do that harassing damage. Whereas Zealots kind of do that, but they're a lot tankier. But again, I think I like Blink more, just because in a standard and long form engagement, Blink is going to be extremely good for keeping your Stalkers alive, and it's going to keep your army alive a lot longer than Charges, because Charge is kind of just going to lose most of your Zealots to especially a high DPS Terran army like this. You should more be going for that Colossus play, or even just skipping any upgrade at the Twilight Council level and going right for High Templar, because those are going to be the really big units that are going to win you engagements, especially against such big bioforces from a Terran player. It looks like we have a couple of medevacs loading up. I would not be surprised to see them move out at any point. And does he have vision? Oh, he has necessary. I was a little bit confused there. We have a couple of medevacs now moving out across the right side of the map. They are going to be spotted by this Overlord, though. Impeccably placed Overlord, along with the fact that these Zerglings control both of these watchtowers, basically gives them complete map control. If you see any of this vision, it's basically all for the red-blue team, which is quite important. It looks like we have a giant flank coming up, and only Marines for ProdofVoid here. What is going on? Oh, this is a massacre. This is horrible. Coop, what are you doing? Or, not Coop. ProdofVoid, come on. Come on, ProdofVoid. Did you just lose, like, your entire army? It looks like we have a drop going down for Tanner. However, it is going to be cleaned up. Both of the medevacs are now down, so really it's just going to be a little bit of time as far as, preventing everything from dying. They are going to be going right for that Nexus, however, I do not think it is going to fall. There's not nearly enough DPS here, especially with the massive amount of Stalkers coming out from there. It's not even focused by it anymore. So we are going to see this giant army kind of just collapse under the pressure. And honestly, ProdofVoid lost a lot there. That was a lot of Marines lost for very, very little trade on the part of the Zerg. And, we see Coop and Damien starting to take a kind of commanding position. This is kind of the spot where they can start putting pressure back on their opponents, because especially with a banding army like this, as soon as you take out a bulk of someone's army, you can actually just kind of go through and roll the rest of it. That was a lot of Marines dying, so we are going to see these Immortals be extremely effective, which is going to be very, very cool. We do have a couple of Colossus now on the way. We have 2 Robo facilities, both just pumping and cranking out Colossus, which is quite, I don't know. I don't like having these huge Colossus with 35 seconds left in one of them, but having that much economy is pretty nice. He should probably be going for more Zealots, considering the fact that he did go for that charge upgrade instead of this massive ball of Stalkers, because Zealots Colossus is a pretty good unit composition. Again, I still personally prefer High Templar now. I've kind of liked them for a little while, but not more than Colossus. But now, I've seen plenty of games where people just absolutely destroy stuff that they could not show with Colossus. I mean, we have a bit of engagement happening here. ProdofVoid doing quite a bit of work on this Zerglings force. However, all of his units are going to be dying here, which is quite important. And, I don't know. This is kind of bad, because Tanner now needs to hold on his own against Colossus that is now just fresh out. Do these Colossus have the range? That is going to be the big question in this engagement. They do not. Quite interestingly enough, they do not have range. But do they come? And this is going to be a huge splash for these Colossi. We have a whole ton of medevacs here, but is Tanner going to be able to hold on? Currently, the answer looks like it might just about be yes. And oh my god, is he actually going to manage this? a lot of these immortals are starting to go down. These immortals are a big backbone of this army, and it looks like just a high amount of medevac. This might actually turn into a Tanner victory, and it's smashing one back, but losing both of the Colossus, all of the immortals, all of the units for our red-blue team have currently gone down. There is really nothing on the field. We have some infestors on the way, along with a couple of more Colossus. However, it looks like ProdofVoid is ready to go for the throat. He really just wants to do some harassing damage and take out his opponent. It looks like we have the transfuse on the spine collar, using the weapons a couple seconds longer. Up, and there is the kill on the infestor. There is a little bit of a funny growth there. It's not quite amazingly effective. It looks like these zealots are going to manage to take out this army. However, you know, the upgrades for ProdofVoid, and does Tanner have any upgrades? Yeah, they both have 1-2 upgrades, which is quite important. What sort of upgrades are we facing on this side? It looks like 2-2 for a Zerg player and 0-0 for a Protoss player, which is quite big. You really need to get those upgrades, especially if you have a Twilight Council. There's no reason to not get upgrades if you already have a Twilight Council, because you can just drop a Forge and you can go right up to 3-3s. It's perfectly fine. It looks like we are going to see Damien refocusing on this sort of Colossus Zealot army, and I would be surprised to see Coop not transition into something like Roaches, because Roaches can be great support units for Zealot Colossi, just because they're much tankier, I would say, than the Stalkers. And I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, Zerg OP, but, you know, they don't do quite as much damage, they're not quite as mobile as the Stalker. However, they are tankier and they are a lot easier to produce, which is quite important. They're also not nearly as supply efficient, but that's a completely different story. And we are going to see a lot more Zealots pouring out for Damien, which kind of again defeats the purpose to have any amount of Zerglings in an army. I would be amazingly surprised to not see Roaches at this point. Coop actually lost a whole ton of drones at some point in this game. How many workers killed do we... Oh, I can't see workers killed. Alright, whatever. How many drones does he have? He has 31 drones? What? Why does he have 31 drones? What is this? You have ProdofVoid forgetting to use this mule, but that's perfectly fine. He does have a planetary fortress, and there are the mules. Let's just watch the income tab for a second. Get ready for it. Okay, his mineral income just spiked by like 700. Perfectly fine, perfectly normal. That's Terran for you guys. And it looks like we have +3 infantry weapons coming out from ProdofVoid, along with +2 armor for Tanner. And that's going to make their army just so strong. And just look at this Bioforce, it's crazy. Usually you're used to just seeing one player's Bioforce, but now they both have equivalently sized Bioforces, and they're both very, very large. And it gets a little bit insane. They have a lot of infestors. One goes down without getting a spell off. The second one does get quite a nice defender growth off. And it looks like ProdofVoid is just going to force his way in here and not give a crap. Oh, wow. It looks like we have quite a few Colossuses going in, but at the cost of the entirety of ProdofVoid's army. Tanner just with a ... But honestly, he should be able to come in here and clean it up, especially with his Viking army. There's not going to be a whole lot of issue here. I would be surprised to not see them go down here anytime for them. ProdofVoid, that is a great way to fix the supply block. And there we go, congratulations to ProdofVoid and Tanner for winning this 2v2 game. It was kind of nice. It was nice and back and forth. There was quite a bit of action that went down the middle of the map, especially just with the players posturing their units and kind of doing this back and forth fight. If you guys want your games commented, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. And also, if you would like to watch any of the other games I've commentated in the past, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Don't forget to drop me a subscribe, and have a good day.